I've stopped playing so many of my retro emulation handhelds, even to the point where I've sold some of them off, and it's all because of the Steam Deck. In 2022, we were constantly waiting for that awesome PS2 and GameCube emulation handheld that could give us fantastic emulation straight out of the box for a reasonable price. And as each month rolled by, new devices would come out, with each one of them teasing us at the prospect of PS2 and GameCube emulation, with the only device really coming close being the AY and Odin's. Now of course there's the whole world of handheld gaming PCs which could do that quite easily, but most of those devices are around about the $1,000 mark. And with each new retro gaming handheld device that came out, the price kept on increasing, moving away from what we would call a budget-friendly price. With the AY and Odin's, the most capable devices setting you back around about $300 to $400. Now the Steam Deck had been out for quite a few months already, but a lot of us were testing the water, waiting to see if Valve were really going to support this device and waiting to see if it really would live up to the hype. So many great reviews started coming out, I couldn't resist. I had to try this out for myself, and as soon as I got the Steam Deck, it completely blew away the competition when it came to PlayStation 2 and GameCube emulation. Instantly my AY and Odin Pro started gathering dust as I never used it anymore, and my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus and even 3 Plus as well suddenly became less of an option when I compared the quality of PlayStation 2 emulation to how amazing it is on the Steam Deck. Jumping from PS2 handheld gaming on the Steam Deck over to the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus just felt like such a downgrade, such a downstep. It was incomparable, it just wasn't enjoyable anymore. And the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus is a much more pocketable device. I wouldn't take my Steam Deck out of my pocket publicly, where I would happily do that with my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus, but even in those scenarios, playing some PlayStation 2 games, I would just constantly be comparing it mentally to the experience on the Steam Deck. Not only that, but when sat at home, the Steam Deck just felt so much more comfortable and easy to use than any of my other devices. It is not an exaggeration when I say the Steam Deck is the most comfortable handheld system I have ever used in my life. Granted, it is a lot bigger than most other handheld devices out there, and it is bigger than maybe some people feel comfortable for a handheld device. And that was definitely a reason why initially I didn't pull the trigger on a Steam Deck. I saw the pictures of it and I thought that's way too big for me. That isn't really a handheld device. That's like a laptop that you hold in your hands. But once I got the Steam Deck in my hands and I felt that snug fit and I felt the lovely weight of it, it honestly felt like nothing else I've ever played before. Now don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. The plastic shell I feel could feel a little bit more premium, but the triggers, the buttons, the sticks, the screen, everything else, the shape as well, all just feel amazing. And when I would go from my Steam Deck to my AY and Odin, it suddenly felt a lot more uncomfortable holding the AY and Odin. Whereas gaming on the go and when I'm out in public, I probably play a game for about 10-20 minutes here and there. And devices like the Miyoo Mini and the RG35 series work perfectly for me in those scenarios. They're highly pocketable and they give me access to the types of games I would want to cram in those 10 or 20 minute sessions. Whereas when I'm at home, I'm going to want to have a longer play session, and nothing could compete with the Steam Deck when it came to those longer play sessions. The comfort factor, the access to the games and the emulation quality were just unrivaled when I compared them to anything else in my collection, which meant that there was this big grey area in the middle where the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus and the AY and Odin sat, which meant that I just never used them anymore and just had to inevitably end up getting rid of them. And it genuinely got to the point where I was even considering whether it was worth having any of these retro emulation devices at all, and maybe just stick with the Steam Deck itself. I was using it so much more than anything else. But I think I've found the perfect balance. I think I've found exactly the devices for me. The Steam Deck is without doubt my go-to when it comes to PlayStation 2, GameCube emulation, and any type of gaming I want to sit in the house, relax and enjoy. The Retroid Pocket 3 Plus is the system I will use if I want to do some Android gaming. And when I say Android gaming, I'm talking about things like playing Minecraft, jumping in the realm, so I can play along with my kids and enjoy those experiences with them. On top of that, I also use the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus for Xbox cloud streaming, but the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus is not going to be a system that I use if I want to have long play sessions. And when I'm on my way out to a coffee shop and I want to grab something quickly to make sure I can squeeze in a quick 10-minute game session, the RG35XX is the device I'm going to take with me. Now don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be buying retro emulation handhelds. I can't stop myself. I have the bug. I want to find out what the new devices are like. I want to see what new technology is like, and I want to see which ones might replace the devices I've already got. But the Steam Deck has definitely come along and completely changed the scene for me. It's given me that sweet PlayStation 2 and GameCube emulation at a price that I think is reasonable, at a price I think is affordable, at least for me, and is without doubt one of my favorite handhelds, not just in the last 12 months, but one of my favorite handhelds I have ever owned. Now, if you're not sure whether a Steam Deck is still relevant today, then check out this episode right here where we discuss exactly why I believe the Steam Deck is still one of the most relevant consoles you can get.